The map of Los Santos and Blaine County in GTA 5 is practically a blatant copy of the real world. Despite the obvious visual similarities, the in-game layout doesn't really match the layout of modern Southern California. Even back in GTA San Andreas, we could spot inconsistencies in the positioning of certain buildings, but in GTA 5, those differences expanded massively. Entire cities, mountains, and lakes were relocated from their real-life counterparts. This design approach from Rockstar has become less common over time. As we can see in their latest Grand Theft Auto game, the map layout is increasingly accurate to real-world geography. Near the end of the video, I'll show you what Los Santos and Blaine County might have looked like if GTA 5 had been developed today. The truth is, places like Mount Chiliad, Sandy Shores, Paleto Bay, and many other locations on the map not only exist in real life with an uncanny resemblance, but they also come with some fascinating real-world stories. The real-life version of GTA 5's largest and most iconic lake is located in a completely different area than the one shown in the game. Zancudo Lake is a parody of the Salton Sea, a real lake located southeast of Los Angeles in the Colorado desert. As you can see, its shape is almost an exact match, but the size difference is dramatic. The real lake makes GTA's version look like a meaningless puddle. The Salton Sea is roughly 15 miles tall by 35 miles wide, which is more than twice the height and nearly 8 times the width of the entire GTA 5 map. That's over 8,400 square miles of actual lake compared to the approximately 29 square miles that the game's entire map covers. And if we compare just the lakes, the difference is absolutely ridiculous. Also, the Salton Sea isn't a natural lake, it was accidentally formed in 1905 when the Colorado River overflowed and flooded the Salton Basin. In the 1950s, there was an attempt to turn the area into a tourist paradise with marinas and yacht clubs, many of which are now abandoned and decaying just like in the game. The following decades were incredibly harsh. The lake began to dry up, increasing its salinity, contaminants and fertilizers mixed into the water, and the exposed lake bed became a toxic zone. This led to mass deaths of fish and birds. Today, the Salton Sea is a massive toxic trap, spanning over 8,000 square miles, that does little more than emit horrible smells and clouds of toxic dust over nearby communities. Desert Shores is one of the real communities located near the Salton Sea. It emerged after the lake's overflow, along with other developments like Bombay Beach, intended to accommodate the tourism boom of the 1950s and 60s. Today, Desert Shores looks remarkably similar to what we see in the game. Abandoned and crumbling homes, RVs being used as permanent residences, high levels of poverty and unemployment, and shuttered businesses that once thrived. Just like Sandy Shores in GTA 5, the area feels like a ghost town with a once bright past. Mount Chiliad in GTA 5 is actually a blend of several real mountains. Its terrain is believed to be largely inspired by Mount San Jacinto, as its cliffs and slopes are strikingly similar to those in the game. It even features a cable car that takes you to the summit, just like in GTA 5. However, there is some debate over which mountain Chiliad truly parodies. A popular theory among fans suggests Mount Shasta. While its physical resemblance isn't as strong, its location in Northern California and its mysterious legends make it a solid contextual match. Mount Shasta has long been the subject of UFO sightings and paranormal reports. There are even theories about secret entrances and tunnels connecting to classified US government facilities. Stories that mirror the legendary mystery of Mount Chiliad, which has been central to GTA 5 and GTA Online for years. Another blatant parody on the GTA 5 map is Paleto Bay, the northernmost town in the game. This fictional town is a satirical version of Morro Bay, a real city also located up north in California. From the name alone, the connection is obvious, but the location and layout reinforce it even further. Both towns sit on the coast and share an almost identical shoreline, even featuring a large rock formation that you pass just before reaching the town. Exactly like the iconic boulder near Paleto Bay. Unlike the close relationship between Zancudo Lake and Sandy Shores, Paleto Bay isn't situated near any of the real-life mountains that inspired Mount Chiliad, so don't expect to see any real-world versions of it nearby. In fact, it's quite far from all the parodied mountain ranges mentioned earlier. We couldn't possibly leave Fort Zancudo out of this video. The military base it parodies in real life is located in a very similar place to the one in the game, northwest of the city in a somewhat swampy environment. Both bases are positioned near the coast, far from any urban settings, surrounded by natural terrain and with highly restricted access. The real base is larger than its GTA counterpart, but visually you can clearly spot the inspiration. In Fort Zancudo, the bridge over the Zancudo River serves as the main entrance, very similar to how isolated the real-life facility is. Of course, in the real world, you can't just launch your car through a dirt ramp to break in through a tunnel. In the Vinewood Hills, just above Franklin's second house, lays Los Santos' most well-known reservoir, Lake Vinewood. This location in GTA 5 is a direct recreation of the real-life Hollywood Reservoir, also known as Lake Hollywood, situated in the hills of Los Angeles just beneath the iconic Hollywood sign. Both reservoirs share a very similar layout, a curved dam surrounded by paths and trails that encircle the water. In the game, this spot is portrayed as a peaceful, scenic escape from the city's chaos, located conveniently close to Franklin's home, making it feel especially familiar. In real life, the reservoir is also a calm, quiet place. The similarities are unmistakable. The shape of the lake, the dam's construction, the location of the sign, and even the residential neighborhood overlooking it. It's a shamelessly accurate replica of the real world, both visually and atmospherically. Many people don't realize this, but there are actually two separate amphitheaters in GTA 5. Strangely enough, a kind of Mandela effect leads players to believe there's only one. In fact, only one of them is used during the story, while the other has no real in-game function. The first is the Vinewood Bowl, a large outdoor amphitheater with semicircular seating, hills in the background, and an acoustic shell that looks almost identical to the real-world Hollywood Bowl. The second is the Greek Theater, a smaller, more intimate venue that appears in the game as Sisyphus Theater in Rockford Hills. Again, the resemblance is impressive. One fun fact, in the game, these two locations are right next to each other. But in real life, they're about 2.5 miles apart, a distance that would span the entire city of Los Santos from east to west. Throughout Los Angeles and its surrounding areas, you'll find countless spots that blatantly resemble locations from GTA 5. Since many of these don't have deep historical or cultural context, we'll group them together here. Among the most recognizable are the beachfront homes of Santa Monica, many of which were sadly damaged during the early 2025 wildfires, plus the iconic Santa Monica Pier with its rides and attractions, the Bologna Creek mouth, and the entrance to the port. Next is the airport. While it keeps roughly the same position relative to nearby features, on a larger scale, its placement is completely different from the real-world LAX. Still, it retains several visual elements that make it familiar. You'll also find the enormous GTA 5 golf course, yes, the one no one has played on since September 2013, and one of the most faithful recreations is definitely the Griffith Observatory, which Rockstar rebuilt in detail as the Galileo Observatory. Interestingly, even though this landmark had appeared in earlier entries of the series, Rockstar decided to place it next to the beach in GTA 5, a questionable choice considering it's actually located far inland. Honestly, I have no idea who thought that was a good idea. This plaza, which you probably know better than your own living room, is a spot-on copy of the real world. Our next destination is Windward Plaza, located in Venice Beach, faithfully recreated in GTA 5 as Vespucci Beach. This plaza connects the beach's pedestrian area to the famous Oceanfront Walk, and it's one of the most iconic locations in California's beach culture, filled with graffiti, street vendors, buskers, tourists, skaters, and fitness enthusiasts. Right next to the plaza is the legendary outdoor gym Muscle Beach, which most players will immediately recognize from the game. The entire vibe has been perfectly brought to life in GTA's universe. Vespucci Beach replicates Venice's look with amazing attention to detail. Windward Plaza features its trademark arches, palm trees, basketball courts, murals, and oceanfront walkway. Even the open-air gym is there, complete with weights and bars, though unfortunately you can't actually use it in the game. In the beta version, the game even included the exact same sculpture found on the real beach. However, Rockstar had to remove it after the original artist threatened to sue them for copying his work. I mean, imagine welding 4 iron beams into a sculpture, then seeing it show up in GTA 5 and getting upset that someone copied you. Of course, the guy's within his rights, but I don't know, I'd personally be thrilled to see my work featured in a GTA game. The Maze Bank Arena in GTA 5 is a parody of what's now called the Kia Forum, formerly known as the Los Angeles Forum, when no corporate sponsor was paying to slap their name on it. This arena became famous as the home of the Los Angeles Lakers between 1967 and 1999. Chances are GTA 5 marked its last big cultural appearance, especially considering the massive new stadium they've built right next to it. So, if Rockstar needs to pick an arena to parody for GTA 8, odds are they'll go with the newer one. The iconic Vinewood sign doesn't just parody Hollywood's version in looks, it mirrors its history too. Few people know that the original sign didn't actually say Hollywood, but Hollywoodland. It was erected in 1923 as part of an ad campaign for a new housing development in the hills. Even though the sign was only meant to be temporary, the rise of the film industry turned it into a symbol of the city. Over time, the sign deteriorated, and in 1949, the land portion was removed, leaving behind the version we all know today. In GTA 5, Rockstar replicates this symbol as Vinewood, placing it in the hills above the city. And although the game never mentions it outright, there's a photo you can find inside the in-game barbershop showing that the sign once read Vinewood Land. That little detail confirms the developers paid attention to the same kind of historical evolution. It's another great example of how Rockstar honors real-world landmarks, not just by recreating them visually, but also by reflecting their backstory. With all these real-life references, it's possible to imagine what a modern version of Los Santos and Blaine County would look like, one that sticks much more closely to reality. Today we know Rockstar designs its maps with more geographic logic, so if GTA 5 were being developed now, the layout would be completely different. Los Santos would still be located in the southwest corner of the map, but the airport would no longer be the southernmost point. In real life, the area between Santa Monica Beach and the commercial port of Los Angeles isn't just occupied by the airport, it's filled with residential neighborhoods like Torrance and other suburban communities. These areas, like the Keys in GTA Vice City or what we expect from GTA 6, were completely ignored in GTA 5, but they would absolutely appear on a modern map. Zooming out even more, the Senora Desert would need to be shifted to the southeast corner of the map, which would also relocate Zancudo Lake and Sandy Shores to a more accurate position. The resulting map would definitely look odd at first, but that weirdness could be resolved by adjusting the placement of Mount Chiliad, Paleto Bay, and a few of those lesser mountains that no one really visits anyway. That way we'd get rid of the current overly symmetrical shape, which doesn't do GTA 5's map any favors, and instead we'd end up with something more organic and naturally shaped. It might even end up resembling the actual outline of the state of California. So yeah, this could be our unofficial sneak peek at the map of GTA 8, although we're still missing a few territories from GTA 5 that don't fall within San Andreas. North Yankton is a fictional estate, but it's definitely based on a real one. It takes clear inspiration from North Dakota, and its small town Ludendorff mirrors the look and atmosphere of real cities like Fargo or Bismarck. All of these places share a landscape of snow-covered plains, bitter cold, and a rural sense of isolation that GTA 5 captures perfectly in every scene of its prologue. During the North Yankton missions, the state troopers patrol in vehicles styled after those used by the actual North Dakota Highway Patrol, adding even more realism to the experience. Even though players can only explore specific routes, Rockstar does a fantastic job of setting the tone with old buildings, the church, the graveyard, and that chilling frozen vibe. That said, Ludendorff itself is basically a facade. If you walk up to certain areas, you'll notice the streets weren't even built to be explored. The town only makes sense if you view it from exactly the angles Rockstar wants. And then there's the mystery of where North Yankton is located in relation to the GTA 5 map. For example, in the mission Bury the Hatchet, Trevor flies west from Los Santos to reach North Yankton. But on a real-world map, flying west from Los Angeles would take you straight into the Pacific Ocean. To reach North Dakota, he'd actually have to go northeast. Realistically, following the route Trevor takes would land you in Japan. The mysterious island of Cayo Perico is a real place, or at least very closely modeled on one. Until we get a look at the full map of GTA 6, this might be the most accurately replicated location Rockstar has ever parodied. Cayo Perico is heavily inspired by the real island of Canoan, located in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Its shape matches Canoan almost exactly, just flipped and rotated if you account for the north orientation on each map. Canoan is a small island, only about 2.9 square miles, with lush green hills, white sandy beaches, coral reefs, and an upscale but low-key tourism industry. Although it's become more luxurious in recent years, it still managed to maintain its natural charm and authenticity. In GTA, Cayo Perico blends all these features: beaches, dense jungle, rocky cliffs, and the seemingly impenetrable, though everyone seems to break into it, compound of El Rubio. It's a restricted area that you can't explore freely without getting smacked in the chest by a guard and sent back to that never-ending party. Of course, in real life, Canoan is nothing like that. It's home to everyday people who live alongside tourists peacefully, meaning you could totally go on vacation to the same island that inspired Cayo Perico, and many people already have. If you look up the island's airport on Google Maps, you'll find tons of reviews referencing the game, people writing tips on how to rob El Rubio, sharing stories, or just cracking jokes. Some of them are actually pretty funny. The island is incredible. I found some bags of buried money, and the best part is that the owner, whose name is Rubio and who is a bit ugly, let me enter and take $1.5 million, which I will later exchange for Argentine pesos and save my country. Thanks, Rubio, for your money. If you want to grind like crazy, I highly recommend coming here. It's very easy to earn 1.5 million. Plus, I once came in here with skynexing for a ruby bigger than the owner's head. His name's El Rubio, a very nice guy who has a very friendly panther. But without a doubt, the best reviews are the negative ones. I got fed to a panther. My chest hurts. Back to Cayo Perico. I encourage you to check out the island yourself on Google Maps and drop a comment with the review you thought was the funniest or the one you liked the most. And of course, feel free to share your thoughts about all the real life locations we've talked about throughout this video on real world places from GTA 5.